And on 2 days, Unbiased Hard Take. Me and JB got a big basketball lineup, all hoops today. JB, it's been 2 weeks. That's right. It's been 2 weeks, my friend. The NBA Finals are here. The Dallas Mavericks will play the Boston Celtics. The Celtics have home court. Me and JB want to talk about that series and predict it. And then, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we have our second annual NBA mock draft special. So, all hoops today. JB?
It's not the truth that you want to hear, but it's the truth.
JB, cut to the intro.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. This is JB.
And I'm Chandler, and this is the Unbiased Hard Take.
And on 2 days, Unbiased Hard Take. That was a really hard one. It's been 2 weeks. I miss doing that. With that, JB, I'm back from vacation. With that, it was very peaceful to get away with the family, enjoy the beautiful Lake Michigan. Good to get away, but I will say, as weird as it is, glad to be back. Nothing like home after gone 4 or 5 days. So, with that, JB, lots happened since we talked, my friend. So, the NBA Finals is set. The Pacers got swept, and the Timberwolves only won one game. So neither series was that interesting. Hopefully the Finals is different. Yeah. Hopefully the Finals is different. With that, JB, the Mavericks play the Celtics. Celtics got home court. JB, who do you have in the Finals, my friend? The Celtics or the Mavericks, and why?
Ooh. Now, this one is going to be a pretty tough one because, honestly, I did not see the Mavericks coming to the finals. I did not see it at all. But Luka and Kyrie both had amazing 5 games. I'm pretty sure almost all 5 games they shot over 30 plus points. Like it was ridiculous. And then Anthony Edwards, he was breaking everything left and right. Rudy Gobert wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing other than getting rebounds, but Cat was he was there in the one of the games that they won, the only game that they won. But so was Anthony Edwards, and then the rest just fell off. But I didn't want to see the Pacers get swept. I really wanted to see a really good semifinals on that part. But I mean, Tyrese Halliburton got injured. TJ McDonald, I think that's his name.
McConnell, yeah.
Yeah, McConnell. Everyone thought that he was going to come out and shoot lights out, but that really wasn't the case. If anything. So yeah, they got swept. It's sad to see that Tyrese Halliburton got injured. That was a tough break for the Pacers, and that's when I knew that they were going to get swept. I mean, there's no way that a Pascal Siakam was going to pull that one out.
That's fair. He's more of a Robin. I've always said that, but that's fair.
So,
especially against a really, really good Boston team.
Really good young Boston team. But yeah, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I don't think they're not choking this year. Because I do believe that I think it's going to be a shootout for both of the big duos of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Luka and Kyrie. I do believe it's probably going to go to Game 7, probably like normally, because it's going to be a shootout. And then Kristaps is still injured. I think he's probably going to be.
I've seen reports that he will play.
Oh yeah, he will play, but I bet you money he's going to get injured. There's going to be a dust particle. There's going to be a dust particle on the court, and he's going to step on it, and he's probably going to sprain an ankle or something. Like it's bound to happen. Like I never seen that man play a one full healthy season other than his probably rookie, sophomore, junior year in the NBA. I've never seen it. Probably other than around that time. But he's ever since he's been traded left and right, he's been injury prone left and right. At this point, probably a dust particle is probably going to come around and just touch his shoulder, and then he's going to probably something's up his shoulder. I don't know. That dude's an injury prone. I mean, you can't rely on him.
No, he's only played 70 games once, and that was his rookie year. He played 72 games. Mind you, there's 82 games in a season, so he still literally missed double-digit games. So he's never not missed double-digit games in his career.
Yeah, exactly. But still.
So he'll play. And it's
5
disappointing,
minutes.
man, because you had the Pacers winning the series. And yes, it was a sweep. But if you look a little closer, 3 of those 4 games were super close.
Mm-hmm.
I said it. I don't make injury excuses. Not my style. You beat who's in front of you. Boston deserves it. But I'd have been, let's be honest, they win a game if Halliburton just doesn't get hurt. They win at least one.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. I had Boston winning the series, but not in 4 games. I figured it'd go to 6. I had Boston winning either way, but Indiana would have won a game had they been healthy.
Exactly. And if Miles Turner actually showed up and actually did something, because he didn't do diddly squat. To me, I felt like he didn't do diddly squat for the team. But it was mostly Pascal and Tyrese Halliburton before he got injured. And ever since that, it's just fell off.
All that being said, my friend, sounds like you're leaning Boston. Am I hearing that right?
Yep, it's going to be Boston Game 7.
And I'll save that for a minute. You talked mainly about Boston. I'm gonna flip to Dallas a little bit because I've been I wouldn't say I'm a Luka hater. I would say that in the past he hasn't won anything. I mean, he's never been to the finals. Last season they missed the play-in. JB, the play-in.
Mm-hmm.
That's unacceptable. I touched a little bit of that on my short take. I gave a lot of flack to Kyrie and Luka, and I still will. They shouldn't have missed the play-in. That should not have happened. No excuse. However, I said many times, you can change narratives. Luka's narrative was great player, good scorer, kind of lazy on defense. Unless that improves, probably won't take you all the way. Well, his defense improved. He's never going to be an all-defensive first-team player. But his effort has improved. I've said that on this podcast before. Effort is half the battle on defense. I can live with you not being a great defensive player, but you got to put effort out there. He's doing that now. He's leading in that way. Kyrie, he's been kind of weird, been suspended in the past for remarks he made on Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it. He missed most of the Brooklyn season because of COVID-related issues. He's been weird. I think he's finally matured. He talked about it himself. And him and Luka, I think last season was a big learning lesson for them. They missed the play-in. They had a losing record with them. Now they're in the finals. What changed? The core's still there. Attitude, mentality, Luka's effort on defense. That's what changed.
Yep.
So I'm going to give a big round of applause to Luka and Kyrie. And this series is interesting for one reason. We got a lot of revenge. I said that on my short take I did. We got Porzingis against his old team, Dallas. And we got Kyrie against his old team in Boston. Kyrie stomped on the logo in the playoffs when he played for the Nets. So this is going to be a fun series. I'm glad Porzingis is playing.
5 minutes.
Well, I don't think this goes to 7. I think this will go to 6. I think Luka and Kyrie are absolutely awesome. That's part of the problem, JB. I have the stats right here. Luka and Kyrie. Luka is 4th, and Kyrie is 15th among usage rate. 52 players who've played in the playoffs. Luka 4th, Kyrie 15th. That's insane, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
That is insane. I have some more stats right here. if you stop Luka and Kyrie, you pretty much stop Boston. Because Luka has averaged 28.8 points, 9.6 rebounds, 8.8 assists. The Mavs are the only team in the last postseason with multiple wins, 2 and 3, in games where they trailed by at least 17 points. The Celtics, meanwhile, are 10-0 in games they lead by double digits. I'll say that again. Think about it. The Mavs are the only team in the last 3 postseasons with multiple wins. 2 in games where they trailed by 17 points. You go down by 17 against Boston with them. Okay, good luck with that. Again, Boston's 10-0 in games where they lead by double digits. They've only lost 2 games this postseason in the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Boston's ran away with it. In the playoffs, JB, Boston had the best record in the regular season. I have it right here. The Celtics have it dominant again. They outscore their opponents 10.8 points per 100 possessions, all without Porzingis the last 10 games. He's back. They're the first team. The Celtics are the first team in the 28 years for which we have play-by-play data to statistically be the best team in the regular season and each round in the playoffs since they have started tracking play-by-play statistics. JB, Boston's the team ever to lead in the regular season and each round of the playoffs. They also have home court and the best record in the league. I hate Boston. I hope Dallas wins. I do. But outside of Luka and Kyrie, who's gonna score for Dallas if one of those two go cold? Boston's deep. You got Al Horford. He's looking for a ring. Porzingis is back. You got Derek White. You have Tatum. You have Brown. The
Mm-hmm.
list goes on and on with Boston. I think Boston wins in 6. I think they're just a better team. Luka and Kyrie, they're balling.
Mm-hmm.
They will
Oh, yeah.
they've single-handed, they're balling. But I just don't see Dallas being able to stop Boston. That's the problem.
No, and I don't think so, because especially with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum both um, not choking like they normally have been in the past playoffs that they appeared in. Like one of them against the Miami Heat, having double digit turnovers in the whole game. I don't know if I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it was probably close up to 20 turnovers total between Boston against Miami Heat that one year. Kind of.
What, last year when we beat them?
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like it. I mean, we definitely.
It seemed like every time or Jaylen Brown touched the ball, it got stolen. Same thing with Jason
especially,
Tatum.
yeah.
And also Jason, and like everyone else, they were just turning over the ball. And it's the fact that that has not happened yet, and I do not think that is not going to happen this year with the Boston Celtics team. Because if it would have happened, it would happened. Honestly, so I think Boston is here, and I think they're gonna set a point straight that they're not a choke artist anymore.
Well, somebody's changing the narrative. It's either Boston or Luka and Kyrie. I mean, it's obvious. In Boston, the standard's different. I hate the Celtics. That nasty ass, disgusting green, classless fans. I'm not a Boston guy. I'm also realistic. They're the most efficient team. I just gave the stats. They've been the most efficient team all year long. Jaylen Brown was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and he's not even the best player on the team. And they did all their third best player in Kristaps Porzingis. You got Al Horford with veteran leadership. And PJ Washington needs to shoot well if Dallas has a chance. He's been I said it in my short take stats in that one. He's had very inconsistent performances in the playoffs. A bad first round, good second round, bad third round. Hopefully, for Dallas' sake, he turns it around, because Gafford's not going to give you offensive presence. I mean,
No.
he only allows 45.2% on defense when he's in the paint. But beyond that, There's no offensive presence for
Mm-mm.
Dallas. It's a two-man show, and PJ Washington sometimes. So yeah, I mean, I think Boston's got it this year. I really do. They have home court. They've been the best team all year. They're healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
I
believe so.
and I
It's
hate
just
saying that because
yeah. I mean, I do too. It's just the fact that there was always a huge rivalry with the Boston and the Miami Heat. There's always has been. There always will be. But it's just the point of the fact that they're just so Boston is so well rounded, and Dallas just has two players, and they made it all the way to the finals because
yes,
they have ever since they traded away Jalen Brunson to the New York Knicks. Nets. Fuck. Nets. Yeah. Man. Knicks. Knicks. Knicks.
Knickerbockers.
Yes. Ever since they traded him away and he signed that massive deal, they don't have anybody. They really don't. And I do believe Kyrie's going to put his all out in against the Celtics just for the fact because honestly, he loved playing with Boston. He loved playing there. I don't know why, but ever since they did him dirty and traded him away for some scrubs that whatever. But
Well, Boston. Well, Kyrie left Boston. It was Brooklyn who traded him for nothing.
yeah, that's what I meant. No, I mean for me, what I was reading, he loved playing for Boston.
I mean, he even committed at a little. He said he wasn't going to leave at some sort of event he did in the past when he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
So
don't know what happened.
he loved playing with Boston. And just think if he would have stayed with Boston and Boston did what they didn't do, shouldn't have done. Just think of how they would be. Kyrie, that'd be the trio right there. I think that would be the trio to stop.
Now here's one. What if the Mavericks never traded away Jalen Brunson? They'd have you looking at Brunson, Kyrie, and Luka.
Oh yeah.
Now, of course, I don't know if that works because of the ball dominance, but there's only
Oh,
one ball.
I think it would work. I mean, he's just had to figure it out because I mean, look at how the Miami Heat did with our trio. I mean,
Well,
first season together, we went to the finals, but we lost against the Dallas Mavericks. We shouldn't have. We should have swept them honestly, but we just couldn't figure out. And it was always through that whole entire playoff series. We've always struggled to try who was gonna do what, and that's when it just clicked for the second season, and then we just started winning.
Ironically, I'm gonna kind of talk about that for a minute because they had to adjust things. Dwayne Wade said on Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp's podcast that I listen to sometimes, he said that Miami was more talented. Dwayne Wade said this. We were more talented. Dallas was the better team. Talent isn't going to win you championships. Go ask Phoenix. They got swept in round one. Go ask the Nets with KD and all that. They've been failed super teams all over. Kobe, Dwight Howard, Steve Nash. The list goes on of failed super teams. Because, and I actually seen this thing LeBron said on some sort of event that he did, that the reason they won the second year was because Chris Bosh moved to the 5. Chris Bosh is not a ball dominant player, so they moved him to the 5, and they were able to kind of teach him how to shoot the corner 3, and he developed a really good 3-point corner shot for us.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice for the team. That's ultimately what it is. The best team doesn't necessarily always win.
And I agree. But I mean, it just came to the point, or through that whole series, yes, they were the better team, But honestly, who did the Mavericks have other than Dirk Nowitzki and Jason Kidd?
Remember little JJ Barea? He lit us up. Oh my God, he lit us up that finals. Oh,
Yeah, that was probably the only time that he was actually relevant, in my opinion.
and Jason Kidd, yeah, Jason Terry, Dirk. They had a solid.
Yeah,
They had a solid
Jason
core.
Jason Terry was mediocre at best during that
Fair.
whole series. But I mean, but yeah.
Oh yeah,
Anyways,
you replay that series 10 more times. Miami wins 9.
yeah,
Miami was more talented, but that's why they play the game, my friend.
exactly. But back
And
to
you
the
know,
present.
right? You know, I'll end on this. This was a sports fact of the day. Go check it out. We do it every day. The link will be on our Facebook. It is in the description down below. JB is awesome with that every week. With that, this is the first time, JB, since the Heatles era, where an Eastern Conference team is favored in the finals. Do you know what Fox Sports, some of the shows on there, referred to the Eastern Conference as?
What?
Quote from Colin Cowherd. The JV League. The Eastern Conference isn't taken as seriously. I don't know why, because literally the best team in the entire league is in there. I mean, it's not like a losing team made the playoffs, JB. All 8 teams in the Eastern Conference had winning records. So the East only gets flack because we're not Hollywood. However, that's a different topic for a different day. So, as much as I hate Boston, I truly just think they win this series. They just got a deeper team. They have 2 stars that can match Luka and Kyrie, and they have the deeper bench. They have the deeper team. I think they're better coached also, and they're better operated. Brad Stevens and Joe Mazzulla do an outstanding job. Not to say that Jason Kidd and them don't. It's just Brad Stevens has been building good teams in Boston for a long time. He's an outstanding owner. He's brought them to the finals before, and he was a good coach for him. So I think this is the year Boston gets it done. Unfortunately, I hope it's Dallas though. I hope it's Dallas. But this is the unbiased hard take. So I'm going Boston in 6.
And I'm going Boston in 7.
And JB going with the Celtics winning the championship. And if they do that, this is an interesting footnote, they will then overtake the Lakers for most all time. So there is that little side note. So with that, JB, oh, the dark times are approaching, my friend. Me and you just predicted the NBA Finals. But with that, we
It's
still
almost
have.
time. It's almost here.
It's almost. But enjoy the ride while it lasts. I see the
Exactly.
depression. With that, JB, we're going to move over to our second annual, my friend, mock draft special. Podcast has made it through 2 NBA drafts here soon, so wow. It's been a fun ride, my friend. With that, we're going to go ahead and get started, my friend. You have it up? Let me see here. We are up. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, JB. This is going to be a lot of fun. Because I've actually been looking forward to this mock draft special for a while. There's a reason for that. I would like to do the first pick.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at team needs here, JB, and I've been doing in-depth research the last 2 days just to make sure I'm not nuts. And I'm not, because even the 4 different databases I've seen, ESPN being one of them, has listed center and forward as some of the biggest needs for the Hawks, and I agree. I mean, Clint Capella's entering the last year of his contract. He's a double-double player, but he's in his 30s now. He's not a franchise-altering player. And the Hawks were abysmal on defense, and they need anyone who can play defense, because god dang, they're horrible on defense. But look, the 14th best-rated player among ESPN somehow, Zach Edey. Fanspo 26 ranked. Disrespectful. He is, I've said it, easily the best player in this draft. He's the back-to-back National College Player of the Year. one of the only players to ever do it, led Purdue, who was known for choking, to a national championship, and is one of the best college players of this generation. But the game doesn't translate to the NBA. My ass. My ass. That's a bunch of crap. Zach Edey is the best player in this draft class. The Hawks would be ignorant not to take him here. There's been talk of Clint Capella being traded, whatnot. They need a center anyway. They need defensive players. Zach Edey can play defense for the Hawks now. He needs a little bit of offensive development. But my God, JB, what else does people want to see? Average a double-double, shot 62.3% from the field, 25.2 points, back-to-back college player of the year.
Yeah.
What else do people want? Zach Edey, first pick of the draft.
All right, Zach Edey, first player at the draft. And I do see
He is
that.
the best player on my. He's the best player on my board. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. This is not a strong draft class.
Mm-mm.
This has actually been listed as one of the worst draft classes. He's easily the best player in this draft, JB.
Yeah, and I agree. This is one of the worst draft classes that we have all seen. And then I'm going to take the second round pick. And which, by the way, we're all doing the first round. We're not doing second round and all that. And for me, it's what I've seen in my screen in front of us. The team needs for the Washington Wizards. They're looking for a point guard, and they're low on centers. So to me, I'm pretty sure they're probably going to pick up a point guard at first, and I'm pretty sure they'll probably pick up the Serbania, Nikola Topic. To me, I mean,
Okay.
I don't know why, but there's always that one foreign player that always comes out and always bees like very high pick. And I do believe that's going to be him, just because he's 6'7" as a point guard. So yeah, I do believe that he'll be a good pick for the Washington Wizards.
And this is not like I said, a great draft class. So you have the Rockets here. The Rockets are sort of a weird team because they're not a bad team, JB. They were 41-41 this year. They've gotten a lot better over the years. They're starting to kind of creep up there. Unfortunately for them, they missed the play-in because they play in a stacked West. Had they been in the East, it would have been a different story. But they don't, in my opinion, really have a lot of holes. They could maybe use a forward or a center. So I'm going to actually go Alex Sarr from France. A lot of people as the best player in this draft class. I don't necessarily. I think he's more of a developmental player. But he has the widest range of outcomes. He's either going to be an all defensive player of the year caliber or a massive bust. He has potential. He's a good shot blocker. He shows good defense. He's a great athlete. The problem is can't shoot, JB. He averaged under 10 points. In a league where Zach Edey's game doesn't translate, people think Sarr's will, but he can't shoot. He's a bad defender outside of the paint and a horrible rebounder, JB. The man averaged under 10 points. He's an athletic freak. And I think in this draft class, a weaker draft class, I'm going to take a risk on a good athlete and at least a good rim defender. You can develop everything else. You can teach someone how to shoot. You can't teach athleticism. I think this is a good pick for a Houston team who doesn't really need a franchise player. They just need a little bit more help.
And I agree. It's it's sad to say that he's the second best ranked, and he only averaged 10 points, and he can't even shoot. But I mean, whatever. For the next pick, the San Antonio Spurs. They are hurting literally everywhere
Except center.
except center. But I mean, this website that I'm using, that's apparently for the center spot is also severe as well. But
Even though Wemby was almost Defensive Player of the Year.
exactly. But I do believe, once again, they're probably going to go point guard and in this round, because honestly, who's their point guard? On here it says Devontae Graham, and it honestly they're very poor. Even with their point guard and shooting guard, Devin Vassell and Devontae Graham, I don't think they're not that going to be that great. So I'm pretty sure they're probably going to try to develop a young point guard, just like how they're doing with the center. They're trying to do that connection, but I think they're gonna go probably with Rob Dillingham from Kentucky.
Okay. And
'Cause
I'm surprised he wasn't. My bad.
Because he averaged 15 points, 3.9 assists, only 2 rebounds, and he shot 47.5% in field goals. So that's really good in college. I mean, he'll probably need to learn to pass a little bit more, because now since he has a big man. But I mean, you got to work what you got to work with.
And I'm shocked it wasn't your first guard taken off the board. He's my best guard on the board. He played for a really good Kentucky Wildcats team. I like that pick. He's a good ball handler. He's efficient handling the ball. So I think he can be a good floor general for a team desperately needing it. And I think he'll be able to kind of spread the offense out, spread the court, and give Wemby some more open shots. I think that's a good pick. He's fast. That's the thing right there. He's fast. Yeah, I think that's a good pair matchup with Wemby. You need a field general with an elite center. With that, JB, we are now on to the Detroit Pistons, and one of their team needs is forward. I'm probably going to butcher this name. I've tried to say it the last 2 days, and I just can't do it.
You can't say a name?
Chris Archer from France. Fanspo has him as the second best player. ESPN actually number 1. I think Alex Sarr is a little better on potential based alone, but I mean he is big wing. He stands at 6'10" in the long arms. He's an efficient 3-pointer. JB, NBA, you need to be able to shoot threes. Jalen Duren, in my opinion, is a good big for the Detroit Pistons. They already have a couple good guards as well. They got Jaden Ivey, and of course Cunningham at guard. So I think if they draft Riskarcher here, that's a good forward to match beside Jaden Ivey and all them boys, Jalen Duren, Cunningham. I think that's a good young core there in Detroit. He's a good passer too. He makes good reads at the international level as well. So he's smart with the basketball, and he can make tough passes. I think that's a good thing for a Pistons team that needs a shot creator.
Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, to me, I don't know why he's ranked number 1, but I mean, that's a whole different rant for another day. But for the 6th pick of the NBA draft, the Charlotte Hornets. To me, they're really good on very positions, except for center. To me, I think they are really hurting on center, because Mark Williams, I don't think he doesn't cut it as way that everyone thinks he should. But I do believe that they're probably going to draft the Donovan Killigan championship player from UConn. Averaged 13 points, 1.5 assists, 7.4 rebounds, and field goal is only 63.9. So I do believe that they're going to pick him.
You know, now, like I said, this is a historically bad draft class. All scouts will tell you. So it was really hard picking a board. Um, Actually, for the Trailblazers here, they don't need a center, in my opinion. DeAndre Ayton's plenty good enough to be a above average center in the NBA. I wouldn't call him an elite center, but he is a walking double double and
Mm-hmm.
he's a respectable center. So I want to go there. And JB, I'm going to go with a surprising pick here. I think I'm going to go Ron Holland
Okay.
because Scoot Henderson had a disappointing rookie season, I think, to say the least. So I'm not going to bail out on him. You need to be able to develop your players, and they need him to work out badly. I think getting some help for Scoot Henderson on the offensive side of the ball is a must. They can't let him fail. I think Ron Holland, who played for the G League Ignite, he's an efficient enough scorer, I think, to kind of take some pressure off Scoot. Even though he played for an abysmal G League Ignite team, he's still put up decent stats.
Yeah. For the 8th pick of the 2024 draft, the San Antonio Spurs are on the clock.
They got two top 10 picks. God dang.
Yep. They traded, Toronto traded the 2024 first round pick to San Antonio.
Right.
So to me, they already drafted a point guard. And I do believe they're probably going to go up to a power forward. And they're probably going to draft Tajane Saloon.
So I smiled because I knew that's what you were going with.
Yep. But yeah, that's. I mean, I don't really know his stats line, but they had ESPN ranked him 15. And it's one of Wembanyama's, probably his hometown. Probably. I mean, he's from France, so.
That's not a bad selection. Take pressure off of Wemby. But with the Grizzlies here, the Grizzlies are sort of in a weird spot because when they were not healthy last year, again, I'm not one for injury excuse, but John Morant's had injury this past season, some issues with suspensions and whatnot. You have Jaren Jackson, who's a former, literally bang, 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 skeet, skeet. But then you have Jaren Jackson, who's a good player, a defensive player of the year previously. But last season was a failure for them, and a lot of it was truly because of injuries. They had multiple injuries, so I'm going to go Reed Shepherd here. He's easily the best three-point shooter in this draft class, and probably the best three-point shooter we've seen in a while. One of their issues last year in Memphis was they couldn't get offense going. A lot of that was Ja Morant's injury, but I think they need to get some more offense. If Ja Morant goes down again, we'll have similar issues. They need to be able to spread the floor, especially in the event that Ja Morant does something else stupid or gets injured again. So with that, I think Reed Shepherd, who's an outstanding three-point shooter in a league where that's what teams do now, that's a good pick, I think.
Yeah, and I agree. But for the Utah Jazz, they're they're really hurting on a point guard
Oh yeah.
badly because right now they have Chris Dunn as their starting point guard. I mean, if you're looking at the rest of the board, I mean, they're pretty solid. They got Colin Sexton as their shooting guard, Bryce as their small forward, Markkinen as their power forward, and Walker Kessler as their center, and which they have Omar, your Stefan as their backup. So they are really, really good in the center spot. And yeah, it's to me they're hurting bad on point guards. So to me, I would see leading your team to a championship victory, averaging 11 points, 2.9 rebounds, almost 3 rebounds, 4 rebounds, and only shooting 47.2% on the field. None other than Stefan Castle from UConn.
I love that pick, and a lot of people have him rated lower in the draft, and it's because he can't shoot.
Yep.
But again, I've said it. You can teach shooting, my friend. You can teach people how to shoot. I mean, my God, at one point, like we said in the podcast, Chris Bosh was taught how to shoot corner threes. I mean, you can teach people how to shoot. He's good at everything else. He's one of the best players. I think he's actually better than Collier is at getting to the rim. He, in my opinion, is the best player at getting to the rim in this draft, and he's an outstanding defender. He's literally good at passing. He can do everything except score. I think, again, you get him some training with that. Obviously, the Summer League will help. I think that's a good pick. Moving on here. Looks like I am stuck with the Chicago Bulls because I don't like the Bulls either. And you know, they say Ball is going to be back by the time he hasn't played in years. He's had knee injuries. You got DeMar DeRozan, Vukovic. So the Bulls have had 2 seasons in a row to where they lost the last play-in game to the Heat. I think Isaiah Collier from USC is a good pick here. Again, a lot of people think he's the best player at getting to the rim. I think it's Castle, but you could definitely argue for Collier. I mean, he averaged 16 points a game, shot nearly 50% from the field. One of the best athletes in this class. He's fast, strong, and he jumps out of his shoes, JB. He's a good player, athletic, young player here for a Bulls team that's a little older, really. DeMar DeRozan is not getting younger. Neither is Nikola Vukovic. So Collier's a good pick here. Kind of maybe help the Bulls get over that hump and finally get out of the play-in.
Yeah, and I agree. It's I think that would be a good pick for them as well. Because they need, I feel like they need a point guard. Because honestly, Zach LaVine can't do point guard.
And he has an injury history too.
And he also has injury history. Just the whole, almost, I feel like almost the whole entire Bulls team, except for well, never mind, DeMar DeRozan is also injury prone. So I feel like that whole entire team is injury prone. But on to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think
Thunder.
I think that they're probably going to go with the point guard.
Really?
Because honestly, the only point guard on their roster is Shea Gilgeous Alexander.
Okay.
It's their only one. And they got a whole bunch of shooting guards. And they got a whole bunch of small forwards, power forwards, and centers. Because they got Chet Holmgren, Mike Muscala, and Biyombo. even though this website that I'm currently using says they are severe in center. To me, I do not think that they are severe in center. I do believe that is a good start and bench players, especially Muscala and Biombo. I feel like Biombo is still a great player. Just really bad injury history, and we all know what injury does to people. But yeah. I do believe that they're going to go with the point guard in this round. And to me, I mean, it's really hard decision. But they're probably going to pick up Devin Carter, in my opinion, because he's probably this best point guard out there right now on the board for all the players that we draft, or that I've drafted so far, because I feel like I'm the only one that drafted a point guard. Drafting point guards because honestly, all the teams that I get need point guards. I mean, it's just how the cookie crumbles. But he averaged 19 points, almost 20 points a game, with only 3.6, 8 rebounds, so he's a little scrapper, and 47% in field goals. So, excuse me. To me, that's really good. Almost 20 points a game, and you get a point guard that can get rebounds. Say less.
You know, you're right, because teams I get don't seem to need point guards. Here's another one that does not need a point guard because they got De'Aaron Fox. They also got Sabonis. I actually think they need a shooting guard, JB. I think they need a healthy guard that can start beside De'Aaron Fox. I mean, they had Malik Monk, but he got injured. I don't think Malik Monk's a franchise player anyway. So, look at my board. My best player available is Cody Williams, the freshman from Colorado. He has the potential to become one of the best two-way players in the NBA. He oozes potential as a shot creator. If he can get a bucket, he averaged 11.9 points a game, which does not seem like a lot, but 55.2% from the field. So when he shoots it, he makes it. He's not out here shooting 40 shots and making 10. He's a good passer. He's a good defender. So I think that's a good pick for a Kings team looking to kind of stack themselves. That's a tough Western Conference, my friend.
It is. And now I got the Portland Trailblazers. Okay, I'm trying to figure out. He was a power forward. The person that you drafted was Ron Holland, which he was a power forward.
Right.
So, and looking at all the depth charts here, I'm probably going to go shooting guard in this one. Just for the fact that, honestly, there's really not much backup or shooting guards that Portland Trailblazers have, honestly. So as for me, I mean, why not get the Jacoby Walter from Baylor?
Okay.
I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me, but ESPN have him ranked 13th, and he's 6'5", and he's only 197 pounds. So, and like this, I feel like we can't really do anything with this draft class because it's so horrible. I mean, we can't. I don't know what else to do, honestly. So just give me Jacoby Walter.
This is a bad draft class, and unfortunately for our Miami Heat in a bad draft class, we pick 15th. I'm not one to typically draft off of need because I'm getting ready to pick someone who's not my best player on the board. And I'm big for drafting people best player on the board. I don't think we need a shooting guard. Let's say, I hope we don't, but let's say Miami goes into the season with the roster we have now. So I'm not going to
Oops.
pretend and do. We got Tyler Hero as shooting guard. Small forwards, Jimmy Butler. Power forwards, Bam. I think we need a point guard. But I think, JB, we desperately need a freaking point guard, man. Kyle Lowry was not doing it last year. Terry Rozier, okay, whatever. But beyond that, we struggled at point guard last year, my friend. We really, really did. And I'm going to go with Carlton Carrington, the freshman from Pitt here, because we desperately needed a point guard. He's actually the 25th player listed off of ESPN. So, but Heat culture. Miami's not going to draft lazy players. He has a good first step and an ability to stop on a dime. He doesn't have good acceleration though. His form on jumpers looks like he's pushing the ball at the hoop more times than not. But with the Miami Heat coaching staff, some of the best in the NBA, we can develop that. Here's the good thing. We didn't have anyone to be able to create shots for us, especially in the playoffs. Watching Miami's offense at points last season was embarrassing at times, JB. Embarrassing watching our offense. He's a good passer. And he has good passive fertility. He has a nice hook pass to hit the three-point shootings while driving. He does lack advanced vision, but again, with the Miami Heat coaching staff, Spo's with the best coach in the league, they can develop that. But he is a willing passer, and I think he can create offense for us. Especially if Scary Terry is hurt, we trade him, whatever the case may be. I think we need more depth at point guard. Miami is abysmal at point guard. It was embarrassing last season, watching the point guard position.
And I agree. Our offense was horrendous. I feel like we just really didn't know what to do.
And I actually had McCain from Duke as a hire on my board, but I don't think he's as good of a passer. So that's why I ended up taking, yeah.
So I know you didn't see it, but I accidentally clicked on lottery picks instead of all first round. So I had to sim all the way to the Miami Heat. So, but that's fine because the next pick is the Philadelphia 76ers. And I already picked the France guy. So we're seeing it on my screen here. He is still on the board, but we already talked about him. He already got picked, so we're done with him. So, for me, they are kind of hurting on point guard and power forward. I don't know why they say that they're hurting on power forward. Because they got Tobias Harris and Paul Millsap. But I do kind of see why they say they are hurting on point guards because their point guard is only Tyrese Maxey. I should probably say they're also hurting on shooting guard because all they have is Buddy Hield and Ricky Consul.
Bobby.
So,
Ricky Bobby.
I mean, honestly, I could probably go with the shooting guard in here on this round. Actually, no. I'm going to go point guard. I'm going to go point guard on this one. And to me, I'm probably going to draft the Duke point guard, Jared McCain. He averaged 14.3 points, 1 assist, 5 rebounds, and he only averaged 46% on the field. I do believe with the because he can. I know he can pass. Um, I know he's a scorer and he's a scoring point guard. But with a good coach, I do believe the 76ers does have a good coach. It's just the lack of injuries that the 76ers has had, especially last season or this season, whatever you want, however you want to say it. Um, so I do believe that he can develop and actually um, do what needs to be done and does what needs to win. So, Jerry McCain to the 76ers.
You know, this next pick might get hate from a lot of people. Let me explain. So the Pelicans. I'm going to go with Filipowski here, the power forward from Duke, and a lot of people are going to say, but they have Zion. Oh yeah, great. The king of load management. Outstanding. The guy who always comes in overweight, who missed the playoffs because of injury. Yeah, Zion's an outstanding talent. He's a big name, all-star player when he wants to be. But he's the king of load management. The Pelicans literally got the playoffs, and he wasn't available because of injury. Yet again, Kyle Filipowski, while Zion Williamson is resting and injured and whatnot, which he will be again, because that's how his whole career has been, my friend. He's a really smart player. He has a good basketball IQ. Here's the good thing: he's a good passer and can create shots for his teammates in spurts. At least he did that at Duke, and I think he can do that at the NBA level, especially for a team that has load managing Zion Williamson. So I'm going Filipowski here. He's my best player on the board.
Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, Zion is the main definition of load management.
Him and Kawhi, but at least championship to speak for. So multiple actually. So
To me, I got the Orlando Magic.
we're getting into playoff teams now.
And to me, Franz Wagner, I feel like he's a good small forward, but he has his ups and downs like everyone else. Um, but I do believe they're probably going to draft a small forward in this round. And I don't know who to pick. They're all horrible.
They're all horrible, he says.
But they're going to draft Tyler Smith from the G League Ignite. Like I said, I don't have any stats with him on my screen. But I mean, ESPN ranked him 21. So apparently he has to be good somewhere. I don't know if you have the stats in front of you or what, but Tyler Smith.
And you know, me getting the 19th pick of the Raptors. The Raptors.
Excuse me.
They need a few things. Guard and forward, in my opinion, are one of them. And I'm going to go Dalton Connect from Tennessee here. He's the forward senior. He's really good at getting to the rim. He's a good finisher around the rim. He can drive. He's good in transition. He gets down the floor before anyone else and is efficient at finishing plays at high speeds, and he's a solid athlete. So he hustles. He gets down the court. And a lot of people have him as a ready-to-play now type of player. And I think that's something a Toronto team desperately needs right now. someone who can play now, not someone we're looking to develop in 3 years. They need someone to play now. They were not very good last year, and they're not picking very high here.
All right. So with the Cleveland Cavaliers, I feel like this is a very solid team. They're really good on point guards. They're definitely really good on shooting guards. Small forward, they can probably use a better small forward because Max Strus is more of a shooting guard than a small forward, in my opinion. But I feel like I'm not going to go center here. Because honestly, who else other than Jared Allen is going to be a good backup for Jared Allen? Tristan Thompson? No. He's irrelevant now.
More of a name, more so anymore.
Yeah, he's more of a I'm not saying that he's bad or anything, but for a long team longevity type of player, he's like a Udonis Haslem.
Very poor man's version, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, a very poor man's version of, because once he was really good. He was a really good center.
Yeah.
Back when he was playing with LeBron. But other than that, ever since LeBron left, never been the same.
Well, he just got old, man.
He just got old, and I think he's just like Udonis Haslem. He just doesn't want to leave. He'll do anything just to stay on that team at this point. But I do believe they are going to pick up a center, and why not other than from our home state, Kel'el Ware from Indiana. To me, this would be a good, solid pick for a backup for Jared Allen. He can definitely develop to be a monster for the Cleveland Cavaliers, especially if you're behind Jared Allen, because he averaged 15.9 points, 1.5 assists, he almost averaged a double-double, 9.9 assists. If you want to round it, if you're the people that kind of want to round things up, be my guest. But the stats want to not give him that 0.1 to make it a double-double. And he averaged 58.6 points. And he's 7 foot, 210 pounds. So he can hold his own against all the other big men that's around. So give me Kel'el Ware for Cleveland.
Okay. And on my board now, it's easily who my best player is. And I went power forward with the Pelicans last time with Filipowski. I'm going to stay on the forward side of things. But this time I'm going to go small forward. I want Matas Buzelis from the G League Ignite. Again, he played for an abysmal Ignite team, but ESPN has him as their 6th best player, Fanspo as the 5th best player. He probably has the best basketball IQ of this draft. He consistently makes smart plays on that side of the ball. He's a solid mover of the ball. He's a good passer with some potential as a creator. He does turn the ball over at times doing that. And he's a good off-the-ball defender right now. But he has not been good with the ball in his hand for the Ignite. Like I said, he does turn the ball over a little bit. On-ball defense could improve, but you can fix that with coaching. I think he has a good potential for a Pelicans team ready to compete now.
And I agree. As well with what you said. I mean, I feel like it's straight to the point. But for my pick for the Phoenix.
Oh, the Suns.
The Suns. The team that everyone thought that they're going to go far. Because honestly, they look like they're going far. I mean, honestly, you got Devin Booker as your point guard. You got Bradley Beal as your shooting guard. Kevin Durant as your small forward. Even though they never played him, but Bol should be the power forward or the center, and they got Nurkic at the power forward and center. I do believe those two should just flop because Bol is Bol. To me, I feel like, man, I don't know who to pick. There's so many good players.
In my opinion, I think they need a point guard.
Yeah.
Durant
To me,
on ball.
yeah, to
on
me,
ball players.
To me, I do believe that they're going to they need a point guard because honestly, I don't know why they got Bradley Beal. Because honestly, they really don't need him. They really don't. Honestly, I don't think they even need a point guard or a shooting guard. They are so guard heavy, it is not even funny. I feel like they need a center.
I mean, yeah, they need that too.
Because honestly, out of all the players, do you want me to name off all of the point guards and shooting guards that they have right now currently?
Oh, it's almost half the roster.
Yeah, it's literally
It's
almost
probably over. Yeah.
It's over half of the roster. Because
Yeah, 'cause you've got Eric Gordon. You got
yeah, they got Isaiah Thomas, Grayson Allen, Bradley Beal, Eric Gordon, Terrence Ross. I mean,
Terrence Ross.
Yeah, they just have way too many guards. And they only got 3 centers.
That's why they fail.
So guard heavy, it's stupid. But I'm gonna go with Yavis Missy from Baylor. I mean, he's 6'11", 10 points, barely any assist, 5.6 rebounds, and 61% at the field goal percentage. So to me, I mean, with the centers that they have now, I mean, he can be in a good rotation. He could try to get into one of the rotations because I mean he can definitely develop. Excuse me. To me, he could also play power forward as well, for that height that he has. But yeah, give me Yavis.
I'm going with my best player on the board here, and it's Tristan da Silva, the senior from Colorado. And while his ceiling, in my opinion, isn't super high, I don't think his floor is either. Obviously, Milwaukee's a title contender, so long as Dame Lillard and Giannis can stay healthy. So you look, Dame Lillard can shoot. Giannis isn't a shooter, so they need someone else who can spread the floor with Dame Lillard. And that's exactly what Da Silva brings to the table. He's a good shooter and tall, and a good rebounder and a decent defender. He really probably won't do much else in the NBA, but I think, especially this late in the first round, you're looking for more role players who can help your team. I think Da Silva could spread the floor a little bit and play some good defense for the Bucks.
All right. Yeah, and I agree. I mean, he's a good defensive player. But onto the New York Knicks.
The Knickerbockers!
We're almost there.
Or hey.
I mean, this team is, I feel like also, it's a great team. Great team. If they had Julius Randle, it would probably been a whole different story. with a whole lot of different teams, in my opinion. But to me, they need a center, and they need it bad. Um, Even though there's probably not as much um, talent left in the center spots, but I mean, probably Adim Bona is from UCLA. I mean, I do believe he's probably going to be a pretty good fit. Even though he is short for this spot. He is 6'9". But he does weigh 243, so he's a big boy. But he has averaged 12 points, 1.2 assists, 5.9 rebounds, and a 58.8% in field goal. So I mean that he's more of a scoring big than a we need rebounds type of big. To me, that's probably what the New York Knicks need more than anything in a big right now. I mean they got they got Jalen Brunson, DeVincio, Hart, and Randall, and they could all put the ball in the hoop, and I feel like this guy can too. So give me Adim Bona.
That's a Tom Thibodeau player. He has a high motor, low ceiling. Like I think, in my opinion, probably won't be a superstar in the league, but he's an effort player. That's Tom Thibodeau, and the Knicks pick back to back. JB,
Back to back.
So back to back. So with that, you've taken the center. You got Josh Hart at shooting guard, but I think Josh Hart's more of a player you want to come off of the bench. In my opinion, he's a good bench coming off. I don't think he's an outstanding starter. So I think some more competition at shooting guard for New York's a good thing. So I'm going to go Kai-Son George, the freshman from Miami. He's 24th ranked player in the draft, best player on my board. He's a good three-point shooter. I think that's something right now that New York can use. Again, nothing really stands out when I watch him. Let me pull my notes out up here. Hold on, I have some notes on him. He's super raw. A lot of people don't even think he's a first round. I have a first round grade on him. Yeah, a lot of people think he should have went back to school. But he is good catching and shooting. I think that's something New York needs and something that can translate to the NBA on a part-time basis. I think he'll be a good role player so long as he can continue to catch and shoot.
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with his game, but I will take your word up on what he is, because I
Yeah,
did see a little bit of his stat line, and he did average 7 points a
yeah,
game.
he's not.
He's not that big oh wow type of player, but I mean
No,
he did have a
and
pretty
especially
good field goal percentage as for what I've seen. So
yes, and that comes with the good catching and shooting. I think he can be a good role player, especially in a weaker draft class. We're getting late into the first round. You know what I mean? You're looking for players who can kind of just help in certain areas at this point.
and I agree. And I do have the Washington Wizards in this pick, and
They need all the help they can get.
they need all the help they can get. And right now, I do believe they're probably going to pick up a point guard again. Because I mean, guards. I mean, they do have quite a bit of guards, but I mean, they don't have any good one. They don't have any good nothing.
Jordan Poole was a disappointment.
Yeah, Jordan Poole was a total disappointment. And Kyle Kuzma, I mean, he's also, to me, he's also a disappointment too. So I do believe they're probably going to pick another point guard here. But give me Carlton Carrington. Really good. I feel like has a really good high motor. He has 13.8 points, 14.1 assists, 5.2 rebounds, and 41.2% in field goals.
Who'd you take? Sorry.
Carlton Carrington. Unless you already picked him.
Point guard?
Yep.
Yeah, I took him.
Oh. Yeah, he was, like I said, it was all the stuff was all screwed up on my thing. But since you already picked him, I'll probably
Hey,
just
we're good at
we're good at
good
some
at adjusting.
things. Yeah, we're good at
We're
adjusting.
good at adjusting on the fly.
Even though I already picked him, but accidentally. But give me the next point guard on the list. Tyler Kolek.
That's who I thought we were going to go. Hey, we're good at adjusting on the fly on
Exactly.
the bias, my guy.
Exactly. That's what we do best.
That's right. The Minnesota Timberwolves. Part of me wants to go point guard here because I don't know how long Mike Conley can continue playing. However, I'm not going to. So long as I think you have Ant Edwards, you have Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns. I think that team is ready to win, and they're ready to win now. So I want to go Johnny Furphy from Kansas, the freshman. And I love saying that name, by the way. He's, again, one of a great shooter of this draft class. I think Minnesota could use some more shooting. They're an outstanding defensive team. Mike Conley is a good distributor, but I think Johnny Furphy, who averaged 9 points a game, just shy of 5 rebounds. Again, like I said, at this late in the draft, you're looking for guys who can just kind of come in and kind of make a difference in one way or another, whether it be defense, shooting, passing, whatever the case may be. I think he can kind of come in and help now.
And I agree. I mean, at this point, I do believe you're just looking for role players at this point. I mean,
I agree. You're
looking at playoff teams that really doesn't need to rebuild as much as what everyone thinks that they should. Just for example, Denver Nuggets. Honestly, do they really even need to draft anybody?
Well, you can you know this, my friend. You can never have too many players.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just might as well just pick up the best player on the board. And why not go with Bobby Klintman from Sweden?
Sweden.
I mean, I really don't have really much to say because I don't know his game very well. But the ESPN does have him ranked 23rd. So,
you know, the Utah Jazz here. This was a pick swap with Oklahoma City. Hard to keep track of the trades. But again, I agree. You want to pick your best player on your board. And my best player on my board is actually Kevin McCullough Jr. from Kansas. ESPN had him as their 22nd best player. But he's a fifth-year senior making a huge jump. He's averaging never more than 11 points a game to averaging over 20. So he had a spectacular season this past season, JB, improving massively. He's a good passing role player with good finishing and shooting. He should be able to get minutes early, in my opinion, as a ready wing. Again, for a Jazz team that needs a lot of things right now, a player ready to play now is more so what you need for a losing franchise, not players to develop in the future. So I think Kevin McCullough Jr. is the best player on the board. I think he can really help Utah now.
Yeah, and I agree.
And it's only fitting. I started out the mock draft special. You get to wrap it up, my friend, with the last pick of our second annual, my friend, mock draft special.
And
Only fitting.
it is. To me, I do believe that they really need a power forward because honestly, you got Kristaps Porzingis being injury prone. I mean, you really need a strong power forward to actually come up and around and actually help that. And why not pick the power forward from UConn? Alex Caravan averages 13 points, 1.5 assists, 5.1 rebounds, and only 49.5% of percentage. Even though ESPN ranked him 42, but I do believe he can be a good backup for Kristaps Porzingis, especially with him being a scoring power forward. And I do believe that is what the Boston really needs in a power forward spot. Because I mean, Kristaps Porzingis, I mean, he's more of a defensive player than a offensive player, but he can't stay healthy.
No, it's always his issue.
It's always been his issue, and it's probably going to stay his issue for a while.
And JB said it. And with that, JB, we have now wrapped up our second annual mock draft special. Let it sink in. We've been going at this for a while. We're growing slowly, my friend. We're going slowly. Our Facebook page is doing really well. Getting a lot more likes. We just got a new YouTube subscriber recently as well, putting us at 33. May not seem like big steps. One at a time. One at a time. So, that's right. With that, JB, that is all we have for today's Unbiased Hard Take. Look out for people, my friend. We were all hoops today doing our second annual mock draft special, and we did not select Bronny James.
Woo! You know, I was about to just for giggles, I was about to just pick Bronny James just for the heck of it, you know. But I didn't.
For shits and giggles. Here's my one curse word I'm allowed. Y'all had to wait till the end to have it.
But I did not because I like to take things seriously. Even
Same.
though I do goof up quite a bit for the technology issues, but what can you say?
Hey, we adapted very well,
But
my friend. We adapted very well to that.
And I do believe it's the best adapt that we can get. So,
you know, here's what I got for the people, my friend. Dark times are approaching. NBA final start in a couple of days. And then after that, we just did our mock draft special. We'll talk about the draft, of course, after it concludes. But we just did our mock draft special. Obviously, we'll talk about the finals and the NBA draft when it happens. But then the dark times are very fastly approaching, my friend. Fast. It's this month. Dark times are this month. But enjoy while we have it. NBA Finals is a great time for hoops. Best time of the NBA season. So I'm excited for it. We got two good teams. The Mavericks were a 50-win team. Celtics best record in the league. They were the most efficient team all year. I'm excited to see it. Zach Edey, though, what do you guys think of our mock draft special? Who do you have as the first pick? Do you guys think this is as weak of a draft class as we do? Alexander Sarr. He averages 9 points a game. He's the best player. Do you guys think Zach Edey's the best player? Do you think I'm crazy? What do you guys think? Let us know. That's right. Let us know in the comments down below. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell. Like us on Facebook. Check out the Sports Fact Today. And that's all I got. JB, anything else before I sign off and do my routine?
Nope. You guys said it yourself, but I'm gonna start out with let's go Heat, let's go Purdue, and let's go Steelers.
No, I'll sign off by saying this. It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks too long. So with that, We'll see you all in next week's podcast. As always, let's go Heat. Boiler up. And go Pack, go baby. See y'all next week.
See y'all next week.